if you believe it, went through 5 different elementary schools because they would continue to kick me out. Elementary schools, 5 different. As often someone may tell you, it takes that one teacher or administrator to kind of have this level of understanding.
Tell me about it.
There shouldn't be any shame in being excellent.
I like that.
We shouldn't.
Welcome to Platforms, Real Journeys, Raw Voices. Here we give you direct information, experiences of immigrants. We discuss identity, power, and just how these things affect people who have migrated all over the world. We have a very special guest today, Mr. Ibrahima Sow. So Ibrahima, welcome to Platforms.
Thank you, Dr. Ifedi. Thank you.
We're going to start off right away and ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey here. Yeah. I must say, first and foremost, you're currently the executive director for the Ohio New African Immigrants Commission.
Correct.
Hello.
Thank you.
You are the former chair, and we're going to get you to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
But personally, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. I appreciate having me on platform.
Yes.
It's an amazing occasion, I think, to be able to share my journey, my story, and really what I contribute. And I think some of the folks that you've had on here and kind of learning about the caliber of former invitees.
Yes.
Either this is a very high standard or a very bad joke.
Thank you.
So I got some shoes to fill.
Yeah.
But being able to share about yourself is, I think, one of the hardest things someone can do because as you experience something, as you live something, at times it's hard to reflect on that and pause. Correct. And really take account and also really count how far you've gotten, all the people that contributed to what that looks like.
Yes.
And to feel blessed in a lot of ways. But I am a humble, I think, servant that is from Senegal, West Africa. I remember growing up in what we call the Red Street on a very compact suburb outside of Dakar, the capital. And in between the ages of probably 5 to 8, my favorite pastime was to kind of band around with my friends there on the street that was very busy. It was partially a supermarket where everyone was selling something on the street to cars and pedestrians not knowing who owned what part of what was a makeshift street. And so our favorite pastime was to hang on to the rails of passing on vehicles. Mostly the dumpster truck.
Oh gosh.
And I remember this one time, Dr. Fetty, I was caught by one of my grandmother's best friends.
Yes.
And so if I tell you, this lady was probably at the time 75 and had a cane, and still she outpaced me to my grandmother, who did not take lightly to me risking my life as a pastime. And so, as we know, that whooping was memorable, but it also taught me a lesson of don't be suicidal when you don't need to be. So from there, I think at the age of 8 is when me and my family got a chance to immigrate to the United States, of course, starting from New York. Landing in one of the Carolinas for a little bit, and then finally landing in Ohio. And I remember landing in JFK, to where we brought like maybe tennis shoes, no socks, shorts, and a shirt in December.
Yeah.
And so we had to buy jackets in the airport, and so that was kind of my first culture shock of seeing snow and trying to figure out what was going on. So that is the early years that really inform what I decided to do, which was define and help to better other people's experiences.
Wonderful.
As they immigrate here and really change their lives and rebuild.
There's so much you've done within this Columbus community, but just to revert back to that, beautiful example of how it takes a village to raise
Absolutely.
all of us.
Absolutely.
I mean, we don't just say it. Grandma had to just whoop you. That's all there is to it. To get you in line.
She was not shy about doing that. She seldom did not, because sometimes if they say if looks could kill, and she had this look that she'd give you that you knew exactly what she meant, and you would get in line. And so I think she passed away just a few years ago, but the few years that I did live with her really are some of the best years, I think, of my life, as far as the kind of person that I decided to be, and the kind of giver that I am. I think much of that I take from her.
That is so fabulous. And I hope you did get a chance to appreciate and thank her.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I see, as you were talking about your childhood, just that picture of freedom, of joy, of real chat. Because many times people don't think we experience those things back home, right? But that was beautiful to see how, having fun, risking your life.
True, it is. And to a certain degree, I have kids of my own now, 2 5-year-old twin boys and an almost 2-year-old girl.
The princess.
Or the bully. It depends on the day. But I think I always appreciate the childhood that I had back in Africa, because so often they're kind of stuck indoors because of safety, because of the environment, whatever it may be, that they don't have the chance to just kind of go outside and be immersed in culture, in that freedom that you mentioned, and just being reckless, where every other eye in the neighborhood is a parent that's also keeping an eye on you. I think that's something that we took for granted, and we didn't really bring that with us anywhere else that we went.
Yes. How often do you go to Senegal, which is where you come from?
When I came to the U.S. in 1998, December of 98, I had not gone back until 2021.
Wow.
So quite a bit of time before I went back. But since I've went back, I've tried to go at least annually, if not every 2 years. Once you drink the Kool-Aid again, it's hard to go back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you talked about coming in December and encountering snow
for the first time.
So why Ohio? Because I always ask people that question. You said North Carolina, some of the Carolinas, New York, of course, Ellis Island, your experience of
the
Ellis
gateway
Island.
to the world. Oh, yeah. Or the gateway for the world.
So why did you end up with your family in Ohio and Columbus, for that matter?
I think for the most part, many people end up in places that are not relatively well-known, like Ohio, like New York. Like they land in either Indiana or Columbus, Ohio, or anywhere else, because there's some kind of familial ties there. Yeah. And so in my case, I had an uncle here at the time who was a student at the Ohio State University. And so we came in, were kind of under his wing, stayed with him for a couple of years. And so that's kind of the anchor that led us here, and really ultimately decided that we would spend generations to come here.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And just so far, how many years have you been in Columbus? 27
years.
You kidding?
Yeah.
27.
If
so high school
counting
experiences and
yeah.
college. Tell us a little bit. How was your high school experience?
Much of my elementary school, all of middle school, all of high school, all of college, all of grad school. So a lot of time. I think if you put me and someone that was native born to Ohio, I think they would not have anything. They would not have a lot of advantages other than that they were born in an Ohio hospital. But I think
it's making it very specific.
Yeah, I mean that's really the only difference.
Wow.
Just to be candid, but I think some of that culture shock that I mentioned before, and I did this I shared the story in a TED talk at Yearling Whitehall back in 2015. I was a very troublesome kid, if you'd believe it.
I'll try. I'll try.
Of the three siblings at the time that my mom was trying to wrangle and both integrate herself as well as help us to be the best versions of ourselves, I, if you'd believe it, went through 5 different elementary schools. Because they would continue to kick me out. Elementary schools, 5 different elementary schools. Before I finally graduated from one. And I think as often someone may tell you, it takes that one teacher or administrator to kind of have this level of understanding.
Tell me about it.
That you're no longer fearful. You're no longer a rebel. You know that you belong because someone has given you permission to do so. And I Miss Hansen.
You remember
her
name, of course.
She in a lot of ways, I think, changed my trajectory in a lot of ways. Because I could have gone on to just doing that, ended up in juvenile.
Look at that.
It could have been any number of realities that I could have lived, but it took one person, one teacher, to change my trajectory, and I appreciate her for that.
You'll make me stop at this level and we won't talk about anything else, but teachers and the impacts they have on kids. I mean, just going from your point that you are as Columbus, as Ohioan, as anybody else.
Right.
That's it. If anybody wants to come and challenge you, I'm sure you can defend
I welcome
that
it, yes.
thoroughly, right? So when we do say that people come as young as 8 was when you came, and you are through and through Ohio.
Yep.
People need to understand that because you've experienced everything everybody else would have experienced, except not being born in a hospital here.
Yep.
And same things I encounter with students, with teachers who teach students.
True.
It takes maybe that one teacher. You're going to make me have to finish my book and study.
Please do.
What do you think that teacher saw in you, or how did this teacher, Miss Hansen, reach you? And then we'll get, because really that's shaped.
True.
That's part of what's shaping you to be the leader that you are today in our community.
In a lot of ways.
Tell us.
In a lot of ways, that is true. I will say there is, from what you mentioned, as much of an Ohioan that I am, I still am very much, I guess, positioned to say that I am as also much as a Senegalese and African than anyone else. And so those two things can coexist at the same time because we are more than one thing.
Yes.
We're humans. We're designed to be complex. But to get to your question, I don't remember a particular thing that Miss Hansen did say or do, but there are instances, I think, in this ESL classroom that we were in at Seabird Elementary, that we were in a group of people that were not speaking English, right? Exactly. So everyone was kind of doing their own thing in their own world. And oftentimes we'd always find a way to communicate, to get our points across, even though we either had very heavy accents or needed some kind of translation service to understand each other in this one classroom. But I think it's how she maybe facilitated that to where no one felt isolated, no one felt sidelined in a lot of ways. And I think I have not seen that level of creating culture within culture kind of replicated in a lot of ways. I honestly didn't see that throughout. After I left Seabird Elementary, I didn't see that in any other classroom. Wow. And I've been in quite a few classrooms. But I think it was her ability to just make people feel like they deserved to be there, that they had the right to be there, that they had nothing to be worried about. Because outside of that classroom, you would get kind of, you don't understand this, you would get looks, you would get, we don't understand, like all of these things that further distanced you from kind of belonging.
Yes.
But in her classroom, you planted a flag. You're like, this is me, and you were not afraid to do that. And I remember her being able to do it effectively and beautifully, not really knowing how she did it. But that's, like I said, it changed the trajectory of my life in a lot of ways.
Was this elementary, you said, or middle?
It was elementary.
It was an elementary
It was
school.
my 5th elementary school. which I could have probably gone to a 6-1 or kicked out of the district completely. But like I said, it took that one teacher to make me feel like I belonged there. And then my potential came out.
Key. And that's key. People gravitate towards groups. And as you look at groups in the world today, in the US, wherever, I taught in prison. So there's that culture too.
True.
And I remember doing this study with some of the inmates, reading a book by, the title was Monster, but it was a book written by an ex-con. But it was the belongingness that made that person want to be part of a gang. So belonging is powerful.
It's powerful.
And this has come out in some of my research and the book I told you I'm working on.
It's one of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
The teacher that made them feel right. Regardless of whatever else is happening in their life. So, I mean, we see ESL being dismantled. I know. And as we get into this topic of education, your education, what informed it, this teacher, tell us what you've done education-wise in your own personal life before we get to your current position.
No, absolutely. I think in a lot of ways, I'm still in the early stages of making any size of contribution. But I think my love for learning, to where it seems like I don't know how to not be in a classroom, is very much informed by Ms. Hansen, but also reinforced by my mother, who at the equivalent of third grade, she was forced to stop going to school. For a variety of reasons, and before she became a widow. And I think because she had aspirations and dreams, just as a human being, exposed to what the rest of the world was, she knew what she missed, or what she was robbed of. And so she was very adamant that anyone can take anything from you. But one thing that she's always told us that your education, no one can ever take from you. That is yours. And so learn as much as possible so you can be as formed as possible. Kind of live, she didn't say this, but it's something that we knew. She really wanted us to live her dream of getting an education. And so I think as a result, we've been running and we never stopped. And so I am hopefully a year away from being the first in my family to get a doctorate. A doctorate in education at that. And so I think both Ms. Hansen, my mother, and you and everyone else that I think has been somewhat of a motivating factor of kind of challenging me, but also guiding me in some way. I think there's always something to learn, no matter what age or how many degrees you racked up. And I think that level of humility and learning means I'm always learning something new that I can apply.
And isn't it interesting? Every time with teachers who worked with ESL kids, their resilience, their ability to stay there, their parental support. You just talked about your mom without her own education. So that counters studies that say, of course, the mom needs to have education, and when they do, the kids do better. But we also know from our perspective that even mothers that don't have that education insist that their kids do well.
And those kids do well.
Wow. Let's talk about Ohio New African Immigrants Commission. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
On getting almost at the end of the doctoral journey. Oh, I knew you had it in you. So I'm not surprised, but I mean, congratulations.
Of course.
If time permits, I'm sure you'll come back and even talk some more about your actual study. So tell us about the Ohio New African Immigrants Commission, one of the first in the country. Ohio sets a first here, and we're proud of Ohio for doing that, regardless of everything.
No, absolutely. That is the caveat. I think across the United States of 50 states, the one district and a number of territories, Ohio is the only state that has a state level organization that represents and speaks on behalf of and works to uplift African immigrants across 88 counties. in Ohio. So we're very thankful for that. Ohio does set the standard,
Yes.
and is very much, I think, an outlier, a positive outlier when it comes to that. So the African Immigrants Commission, as we know, was created back in 2009, 2009 by the 132nd, I believe, legislature, and signed by Governor Celeste.
Yes.
And it took us quite a bit of time after a lot of advocacy, a lot of work, and quite a few champions like yourself, the late Madi Takilo and Kay Wilson and others, to be able to get initial appointees to the commission by Governor Kasich. But since then, we've been able to have appointees, some of the best African immigrants across, I think, the diaspora, to be able to sit on the commission and represent African immigrants across Ohio. And we've also been able to succeed in getting funding for our commission. So we're a fully fledged government agency now. And the three pillars of the African Immigrants Commission is to connect, advise, and impact. And so our job is to advise the governor and the legislature on challenges, opportunities, and the amazingness of the African diaspora here in Ohio, but also work to connect that same diaspora to how government works, whether it's nonprofits and grants, whether it's businesses and the contract opportunities, whether it's education, and how are we making sure that transition for not only parents, but the ESOL students is top of mind as far as meeting academic progress and efficiency for our students. And so we do that, and hopefully when everything comes aligned, we're able to impact African immigrants in a very positive way, both socially and economically, and that very much just benefits the Ohio at large, every Ohioan.
Yes, and not to belabor it, the point about people who care, advocacy, the late Madi.
Yes.
We know.
Yes.
We miss him.
Yes.
A Somalian who just...
He's a champion,
championed African excellence. Made connections with both sides of the aisle, if we can say that.
Absolutely true.
And so going back to the 2017 when Governor Kasich eventually appointed us.
The 6 initial appointees.
Yours truly, yes.
Yes. As our inaugural chair. Yes, our inaugural
as
chair.
As the inaugural chair, and you were the second chair. To becoming the executive director, it took a lot of work. It took a lot of lobbying.
It did.
But I say that to say that's who we are. That we don't give up.
True.
We see what's good, and we're going to keep pressing to get it done.
Resilience and determination.
Say some more about that, because you've continued from what you see.
No, absolutely. So I think when it comes to the amount of, I think, fight and lobbying and advocacy that we had to do ourselves.
Yes.
To a certain degree, it was within the apparatus of state government.
Correct.
But we also had to go outside of state government and make a lot of noise, make a lot of partnerships, and very much work to be seen and work for the visibility that ended up resulting in tangible items like getting an office, getting funding, getting continued appointees. And so I think I wouldn't say anyone else would have probably given up at trying to get something that seemed impossible happen. But if we had given up, we wouldn't have gotten this far. And so I think not only did you and others in the early stages of this commission fight to really build that foundation, but you set the standard for this is how you contribute moving forward. And I think you've kind of set the bar as far as you don't go halfway, you don't do the bare minimum, and we have tangible results to show for that.
We couldn't have done it without the team, of course. You stood there as the first secretary. So now that you are the executive director, I remember initially we did a lot of listening tours. And again, as we talk about this, we're talking about the whole 88 counties. Tell us something the commission has found out about Ohio that people need to know about? There were some I always picked on, but I'll let you, since you're the guest.
Something that we founded as far as a particular interesting fact that the commission has as so it's interesting what we've been able to find out. So in 2017 to right before COVID. Or right around COVID, we were doing regular listening tours, being able to look at what are some of those conversations, challenges, opportunities, and also the amazingness of what people are doing. How can we turn that into the information that we can share with legislators and policymakers, but also what can we do as far as collaborations with other agencies that we can build on to make sure that those voices and those community experiences are not sidelined as kind of an other, and really mainstream the advocacy work and the impact building that we were doing. One thing that we've realized is our population is a lot bigger than both the census as well as the internal state counting goes. And so one thing that we are committed to over the next year is to do a very targeted census. With some private partnerships as well as some public ones, to be able to do a census that is driven by local organizations that have closer proximity and access to people. I think it would allow us, a very good data set to be able to overlay with the U.S. Census data, and to see if there is a big gap. But it also allows us to better understand what is the impact of the diaspora, which is very diverse in Ohio, and how can we better change that narrative of the impact that we do make is represented by not only the population size, but also the taxes that we put in and the businesses that we have operating across the state, as well as the kids that we have enrolled in these schools, as well as teachers that we have teaching in some of these schools.
Correct.
And so we're kind of in a lot of different sectors. And I think oftentimes because we don't have that information, it's hard to lead with that and build that narrative of our impact. And so one of our objectives is to build on that.
Yes. I'll come back to the commission. Let me stay on this point a little bit. Post-COVID, prior to COVID, we discovered, as you just rightly said, the diversity in the population of immigrants. Because people would say, why have a commission for Africans? You're just centered in Columbus, the big C, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. Is that true?
That is absolutely not true. It's absolutely not true. So you will find African immigrants from the data that we've been able to hold in 48 of Ohio's 88 counties.
Amazing.
That's over half of the counties. And so I think if we were just in the 3 C's, plus the 1D and the 1T and the 1 A, so like Akron, Toledo, Dayton. I think you will find African immigrants in Athens County, Greene County. There's a lot of places that I think people are very much just low key and kind of doing their own thing, but they have so much of an impact as far as helping to be either deans or administrating universities and colleges, running construction companies, some of the best in Ohio. And I think because we're so humble, we'd often get overlooked. And I think there shouldn't be any shame in being excellent.
I like that.
We shouldn't be too humble to where we neglect to tell our own story. And I think we exist to be able to do that, to be able to say for both 2 Nigerian architects in Ohio that they are some of the best top architects in the Midwest, if not the country, and these people are Africans. They're part of the diaspora, and we have to be proud of that. And I think there's little humility in that, and it's a source of pride for us to be able to know that, because we also have a generation we have to inspire. And they have to know what kind of shoulders that they're stepping on.
Thank you. And that could go for many professions.
Very true.
You just mentioned 1 or 2. And I remember talking about the reports.
Yeah.
One of the things required of the commission was to have these reports. Speak a little bit more about the responsibilities the commission has, and again, to what it does for the state of Ohio to have such a commission.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in state law, the New African Immigrants Commission has around a little over 16 specific like things that the legislature has charged it to do by law. And some of those things include being a repository for all data and information related to African immigrants, whether that is how many teachers or students we have in schools, how many businesses we have registered per county, and it kind of just a lot of different information. Another one is to be a platform for the amazingness of African immigrants.
Yes.
And so one of our charges, and hopefully we're able to do this soon, is to create an event where we're celebrating and uplifting and advertising everywhere we can some of the high achievers, the high impactors. How are we celebrating them and also serving them as examples for not only other African immigrants and young immigrants, but also all Ohioans. As these are African immigrants doing amazing things, but they're also Ohioans doing amazing things.
Wonderful.
Because those two things, like I said, they can coexist at the same time.
Yes. And as I've told you, as I say about this show, the platforms, we're going to platform things from a counter story perspective. I've said this before. When people think of Ohio, they don't think, oh, well, it's red, it's this, but we're here.
Yeah.
And just everything you said now in terms of platforming excellence, we can't wait to see that from the commission. So
absolutely,
please get with it. We're
we
looking forward to that.
We will get to that.
What is the constituency of the commission right now? It's sitting 11 people, right?
So we are at 14 commissioners now. So we're a board of 15. At a full size by law. So we currently have 14 commissioners, and that includes the non-voting members that are sitting legislators. So right now we have Senator Michelle Reynolds of the Ohio Senate's 3rd Senate District, and State Representative Ishmael Muhammad, who represents the Ohio State House, who is appointed by the Speaker of the House. So those two legislators sit on our board, and then we have everyone else who represents a different part of the state, whether it's Monroe or Mason, Cincinnati, Toledo, Columbus, Cleveland.
Yes.
Yeah. So we not only do we have a responsibility to be representative geographically across the state, but we also have to have representation across the African diaspora. And that means not having overrepresentation of one particular country of origin. By law, that we can't do that. Yes. And by fairness, we shouldn't do that. And so we try to have a balance of both of those to the extent that we can. We also know that there's also a gender disparity that we have to be mindful of every time appointments are made. And so we don't make appointments. The board doesn't. The governor makes those appointments. And we can, to a certain degree, say or give opinion. We can present names, give opinion, but ultimately the decision isn't ours. And whatever appointments we do make, we have to make sure it fits within the framework of the law, as well as the representation of the constituency that we sit on behalf of and represent.
And, I'll say this for myself again, just those initial years, that was key for me.
True.
To make sure there were people from different countries, right? Not just Nigerians, because we tend to take over things. And to make sure we had that geographical diversity in Ohio. But I'll also tell you the lobbying of knowing that the House has its say in the representation on the commission.
Very true.
Is important for people to know.
Very true.
While the governor appoints everybody, the two bodies also present candidates, right?
Yes, yes. So of the 11 appointees, or of the 15 seats, of the 15 seats that the board has, 2 of them are appointed by the Speaker of the House.
Yes.
And it is 1 legislator and 1 community member.
Okay.
And then the Senate president also, 1 legislator, 1 senator, and 1 community member. And currently in the Senate, we have that Senator Reynolds and Abdurazak Ahmed, who is just a community member. And so we have that 1 vacancy that we're waiting on. But it is a full functioning, fully operational board at this point, and we're excited to get to work, continuing to get to work, and build on the successes we've had for Africans across Ohio.
We are so proud of the commission, proud of your work, taking us to where we are now.
Absolutely.
And I hear you saying there are some things that are coming in the pipeline for this year, because the funding, which came 10 years after the commission was empaneled.
Better late than never.
But better late than never. We're very grateful for that. And you're just building upon that.
Absolutely.
So let's pivot a little bit to now your leadership in the community. Besides the commission, which again you served as the chair, and then you're now serving as executive director.
I had a good mentor, yes.
But besides that, kind of talk to us about some of the other leadership roles you've had in the society, in your community of Senegalese, in the African, but also just in Ohio.
In general, absolutely.
I mean, you're a voice that is reckoned with. Don't be humble now. Just speak. Don't be humble.
So I will say one thing that I'd always harp on is, how can I be of service? Like that's one thing that is always top of mind for me. Sometimes I overdo it and wear too many hats to where I'm trying to get rid of some. But I'm only human, right? And I'm always looking to be to be helpful. And so some of the roles that I've had, I think most recent, as of a couple of years ago, was sitting on the board of the Ethiopian Tawhid Social Services.
Okay. Yes.
And so that's arguably the largest immigrant refugee nonprofit in the region that's doing amazing work supporting families and building partnerships across Central Ohio. And so being able to serve on their board allowed me to see and get training, frankly, for board governance and operations that very much informed how some of the lessons that I applied to the NAIC board at the state level. And from there, I think right now I'm serving as the president of the Senegalese Association of Columbus, Ohio, an amazing community that, of course, has its challenges like many, but so many opportunities to, as they're hardworking business owners, people that are looking to integrate and contribute as much as possible and build community where they are. And so being in the seat that I am, to be able to lead and advise and be trusted, I think at my age, honestly, as well as being on the board for our mosque, is very humbling. I think it says a lot to, like, sometimes I'm like, are you sure? I'm just here to make the Facebook page. But they value my contribution. They value my ideas, and I think they see something in me that maybe I don't. That
I did.
But it's humbling nonetheless. And most recently, I think I've signed up to be on the board of the Eastland Advisory. Eastland Advisory, a nonprofit corporation that is looking to economically redevelop the Eastland area of East Columbus. Which is my neighborhood. That's where I grew up. And so I'm very much interested and invested in really bringing that to life again. And so there's places that I've knocked on, and they're like, come on in. And I'm like, are you sure? And other places where I felt this is just where I'm going to come in and take lead. And everyone was kind of corralled around. And so I'm grateful and very humbled for the mentorships that I've had, but also the experience that has given me maybe the level of confidence and also the level of competence to be able to take on some of these leadership roles and do well enough in them that people keep me around.
Yes, people notice and say, Mr. Sow, yeah, we know him.
Yeah, hopefully soon, Dr. Sow, but we'll see.
Done within the next few months,
Oh,
hopefully,
man. Oh,
Dr.
man.
Sow, and you would have totally deserved it. You mentioned a little bit about your own family because you're balancing all these community roles, with your family. Tell us a little bit about your own family.
Yes.
And how you're able to do all this.
Yes. So if I tell you, my wife is so understanding.
Oh, God bless her.
I love that woman. She's very, very understanding of, I think, the kind of husband she has.
Yes.
And she's just like, you know what? I got it. Just go and come back. Don't come back at midnight. Just eventually come back. But I think that level of understanding and partnership, I think it's in a lot of ways, I'm very much appreciative of it because it allows me to not only gain the experience, but also build relationships because I have the space to do that. And I have that partnership that allows me to do that. But also partnerships is a give and take. And so we motivate each other in a lot of ways. And we will be celebrating our 10th year anniversary later this year, and so I'm grateful for her.
Yes.
She's also produced twin boys that
the princess.
They are a joy, but they are also boys with a lot of energy, and so they can be draining. But they are turning 6. They are very, very bright kindergartners who can't wait to go to first grade.
I can imagine coming from you and Aisha.
we don't play around with the learning. We definitely expose that to them, whether they like it or not. And I'm glad to see it as we do these home exercises of writing and such. Their baby sister that was turning 2 next month.
Yes.
Who
the princess.
She's adorable, but she also very much bullies them, which I'm like, nothing I can do about that.
She's holding her own.
I got to pick my fights with her.
She's holding her own.
But she's also like writing and saying letters and numbers.
Wow.
And so I think exposure is so much key. And you learn, I think two things that I've learned as a parent is leadership skills and patience. Because I'm not developing human beings. Really, God is.
God.
What I'm doing is helping to facilitate and to be a witness to just their growth.
I love it.
It amazes me still that I think they were born the day before the state lockdown for COVID, for the pandemic.
That's true.
And so I still don't know how we survive. But I am so much grateful of just the time that we had during the pandemic to where I saw how their brains were developing and learning, and to be present for that. And I think it made me more of an invested parent in a lot of ways that I don't regret. And so humans are complicated, but I am down for the journey.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Blessed to have you and Aisha parenting them and just raising them as the princes and princess that they are.
Oh man, I think they probably they get their heads a little too inflated when they hear that.
Rightly
but
so.
It's a blessing.
Rightly so.
It's a blessing.
Adorable, handsome. I know time is. Who knows that we're just almost at the end of this hour. So. Almost Dr. Sow. I know you're coming back. But before you leave today, just the platform is yours to say or to speak on anything you think the the audience just isn't aware of that you'd like to say. Just from a counter story, which I've shared with you, perspective. What is something you'd like to share?
No, absolutely. So one thing, Dr. Ifedi, that's very much informed a lot of decisions that I've made is really challenging and also inspiring in a lot of ways. The level of engagement that I think our fellow Africans have particularly in Ohio.
In Ohio.
I think we're blessed to have two legislators,
Yes.
two Somali legislators that
you.
are serving in the Ohio House now.
Thank you.
But I think given both the size that we have and the amount of tax dollars that we pour into the state, I'm surprised and shocked that we aren't more engaged across city councils, townships, school boards. Like, I think the representation is so key and so instrumental in allowing people to realize, like the teacher that I had in elementary school, showing someone that I belong there. Like, this is a space that can be for me. And even I think as I realize and learn about the apparatus of state government and how many people are maybe state employees, we don't have enough of Africans that are experts in whether it's IT or engineering or whatever it is, working in those jobs that create not only representation, but contribute.
Do you have any, I know you did have before, political ambitions? You know that was coming. Since you even opened the box.
Right, I did open that box. That is true. Yeah. So in 2015, I ran for Columbus City Council, and it was an amazing experience that I wouldn't change for the world. I think it learned a lot. I learned a lot about how you build coalitions and partnerships, but also how you sell an idea. But also how you galvanize people to be engaged. And I think since then, there's been quite a few different examples of people that have campaigned. Some have been successful, other ones not so much. But the law of probability, if you have more, your chances of succeeding increases. And so I'm hoping to increase our chances of giving people the audacity in a lot of ways to go for
step
it.
Out.
And to step up and to do that, because there are some examples of municipalities and legislators that are doing well because they have the diaspora being represented on those panels. And so hopefully we're able to change not only the face of Ohio, but the direction of Ohio when we contribute and engage a lot more.
We share in that vision. I'll tell you that. I may never run for anything myself, but the action
never say never.
Of
never
organizing and activating and galvanizing and just helping people see beyond themselves.
Absolutely.
See Ohio as, again, I say it, the state that's going to be a star.
True.
That's going to be that city on a hilltop.
Absolutely.
We can do it. We can do it. And with you at the helm of a lot of things, I know we can do it. So
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ibrahima. You continue to inspire.
I appreciate it.
We're rooting behind you for whatever you set your hands on, and give my love to the commissioners. I'll try and be at one of these meetings.
Yes. We would love our inaugural chair, our godmother, to come bless us.
Godmother, indeed I am. So thank you so much. But certainly, we look forward to getting you back here.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, everybody, thank you. This wraps up this edition of Platforms. A very intriguing personality we just had, but we're looking forward to more. There are so many more people that have to come and tell their stories. And as you can see, there's so much to learn about ourselves, about the state, about the nation, about the world. It's all interconnected. So again, thank you, and join us for the next episode. Goodbye.